Okay, so in this video, discuss natin yung activity activity niya sa Kuiper about hedging a forecasted transaction and options contract. Ayan. So for problem 1, here's the problem, no? On December 1, 2020, XYZ Corporation estimates that 10,000 units of inventory will be purchased from a US supplier on March 1, 2021 for $5,000. So the transaction is probable and it is for or to be denominated in US dollars. Sales of inventory is expected to occur within the year. So on the same date, the company entered into a 90-day forward contract to purchase $5,000 on March 1, 2021. The exchange rates available on various dates are as follows. Okay? So basically, ang problem na ito is a forecasted transaction. Kumbaga, there is or the company is anticipating a future transaction, a highly probable transaction. Ayan. At the same time, okay, para i-hedge yung kanyang cash flows, yung variability ng kanyang cash flows, the XYZ Corporation entered into a forward contract, a 90-day forward contract. Ito yung mga exchange rates during those dates, okay, for December 1, December 31, and on the transaction date, ayan, March 1, 2021. Okay. Additional information, on March 1, 2021, the purchase transaction materialized. 60% of inventory items were sold on June 30, 2021, while the remaining 40% were sold on September 2021. Okay? Now, required, prepare the necessary journal entries to record the foregoing, assuming that OCI or other comprehensive income gain or loss will be reclassified to profit or loss in the same periods which the hedge item affect P&L, and the other one is assuming that OCI gains or loss will be close to the initial carrying amount of the hedged item. So actually, ito yung dalawang options na pinrovide ng standard on how to close the balance of the other comprehensive income gain or loss. Okay? So ito una, okay, it means that for letter A, i-close mo daw yung balance ng OCI gain or loss at that time that the hedge item affects P&L. Ayan. So in this case, dahil yung binili natin dito is inventory, at the time that the inventory or the hedge item affects the profit or loss is at the time that nabenta na yung inventory. Pag naging na siya, part ng cost of goods sold. Ayan. The second one naman is you adjust the carrying amount. Okay? You close the OCI, the balance of the OCI by adjusting the balance of the carrying amount of the hedge item. Adjusting the balance of the initial carrying amount of the inventory in this case. Now, let's prepare the journal entries. Okay? For the hedge item, wala tayong entry for December 1, 2020 dahil nga wala pa tayong recognized liability in this case. Kasi the transaction has not yet occurred. While because there is already a transaction for the hedge instrument, kaya yung entry natin is we debit FC receivable from exchange dealer and credit peso payable to the exchange dealer. Ayan. For the amount, of course, of 261,500. Okay? Paano kinuha yan? That's the 5,000 contracted units of foreign currency multiplied by the 90-day forward contract on December 1, 2020. That's 52.30. Kaya nagkaroon ka ng 261,500. Okay? So remember na yung mag-change dito ng value sa ating hedge instrument is the FC or the foreign currency receivable. Ayan. Yung fixed dito is yung peso payable. Okay? Fixed siya kasi that is the contracted price that XYZ Corporation will pay to the exchange dealer if when time comes. Ayan. For December 31, for our hedge item, wala pa rin tayong journal entry Kasi nga, wala pa tayong transaction that time. Okay? Now, for the hedge instrument naman, we will have to record either gain or loss. Ayan. In this case, yung forward contract natin, ang natira na lang, the remaining time is 60 days na lang on December 31, 2020. 60 days na lang until March 1, 2021. Now, yung forward contract yung forward rate natin is from 52.30 naging 52.60. So, in this case, this is favorable to the entity, no? Kasi nga, yung receivable niya, in terms of foreign currency, the value of which in Philippine peso also increases by from 52.30 naging 52.60. So, nag-increase siya by 0.30 per foreign currency unit. So, yung ating entry is debit tayo kasi nga nag-increase ang ating receivable in terms of foreign currency. Kaya debit FC receivable from exchange dealer. Okay? While credit tayo, OCI, ayan, o other comprehensive income, exchange gain or loss for 1,500. That's 52.60. Okay? The forward contract or the forward rate on December 31, 2020 less the 52.30, the forward rate, originally contracted, multiplied by the $5,000, kaya nagkaroon ka ng 1,500 na gain, or OCI, exchange gain or loss. So, lagay natin siya sa OCI kasi nga this is a cash flow hedge. A forecasted transaction is that of a cash flow hedge. Again, hini-hedge natin yung volatility or yung variability ng future cash flows. Okay, so for the next entry, our entry would be or at the time of that, at the transaction date na tayo. Okay, that would be on March 1, 2020. Now, sa ating hedge item, syempre, kasi nangyari na yung transaction, so we have to record purchases or inventory. Okay, credit tayo ng investment in foreign currency. Kasi nga, it is denominated in foreign currency. Kaya babayaran natin yung supplier ng foreign currency din. That's 262,000. So, paano kinuha si 262,000? That's 500,000 foreign currencies multiplied by the spot rate, no, at the time of the transaction, 52.40. That's 262,000 yung ating value ng purchases or inventory. Ayan. Sa ating hedge or hedge instrument naman, okay, magre-record muna tayo ng gain or loss, no? Okay. So, our gain or loss is, syempre, from 52.60 on December 31, forward rate, naging, 52.40. Okay, so, equal na yung ating forward rate at saka spot rate. Kasi nga, wala nang remaining time, no? Yung ating forward contract. Ayan. Kaya, okay, decrease, no, ng 0.2 or 0.20 yung ating value ng ating foreign currency receivable from XD. Kaya 52.6 minus 52.4 multiplied by the 5,000, no, the notional amount. Okay? So that's decrease in the receivable, FC receivable from XD for 1,000. The corresponding debit naman is to other comprehensive income, exchange gain or loss for 1,000. Ayan. So after recording the gain or loss for the hedge instrument, okay, so bayaran na natin sa exchange dealer, okay, ng amount na ating kinontrata. Kaya we close na the peso payable to XD, that's 261,500. Credit tayo ng cash for 261,500. Then, after which is bibigyan na tayo ni exchange dealer ng 5,000 foreign currency. Ayan. So, debit tayo ng investment in foreign currency, the amount of which will be equal to the spot rate. Ayan. At the time of the transaction. So, that's 262,000. That's 5,000 foreign currency units multiplied by the spot rate, okay, during March 1, 2021. Ayan. And we close the FC receivable from XD for also 262,000. Now, we still have a balance, no, for our other comprehensive income exchange gain or loss. Okay? Remember na meron tayong beginning balance, okay? Or meron tayong credit to OCI for 1,500 on December 31, while on March 1 naman, meron tayong debit for 1,000. Kaya our net balance of the OCI on March 1, 2021 is 500. Again, we have two options, no, kung paano natin to siya iti-treat or how to close the OCI, how to reclassify OCI. Okay? So ito yung dalawang options na binigay ng standard. Una, we'll transfer the OCI daw or classify the OCI to the profit or loss at the same time that the hedge item, in this case, yung ating inventory affects the profit or loss. And what do you mean by the hedge item affecting profit or loss? Okay? In this case, the inventory, it affects the profit or loss at the time that the inventory is being sold. Okay? It means na na-transfer yung inventory to the cost of goods sold. So if that's the case, okay, ito yung ating entry for letter A. Ayan. So, sabi dito, 60% down ng ating inventory items were sold on June 30. So, dahil 60% ng inventory na benta on June 30, kaya matatransfer na yan to cost of goods sold. Okay? That's debit cost of goods sold, credit inventory. How much? That's the initial carrying amount na 262,000 multiplied by 60%. Kaya meron kang cost of goods sold on June 30 for 157,200. Ayan. At the same time, kasi nga, nag-option A tayo, our 500 balance of OCI credit will also be transferred to or close to the cost of goods sold at the same time that the inventory affects P&L. So, debit tayo ng OCI, exchange gain or loss, credit cost of goods sold for the amount of course, dahil 60% yung nabenta na inventory, 60% lang din yung amount ng OCI na i-close natin sa ating cost of goods sold. Okay, for, ayan, 300. Next is, dahil on September 30, nabenta yung remaining 30% ng inventory. Ayan, so the cost of goods sold to that would be the remaining 104,800. And a corresponding credit to, syempre, inventory. 104,800. Okay? And in this time also, i-close natin yung 40% remaining balance ng ating OCI. That's OCI, debit, credit tayo ng cost of goods sold for the remaining 200. Or 500 times 40%. So this is how you close or you reclassify the cost, the balance, no, of your OCI exchange gain or loss. Okay, for the option A, ayan, as provided by the standard. The next option, no, na binigay ng standard and generally no inadapt ng standard is itong ating second option. Okay, the second option is the balance of the OCI will be close, no, to the initial carrying amount of the hedge item. So in this case, di ba, yung ating initial carrying amount ng ating inventory is ito, 262,000. So sabi ng second option na pin-provide ng ating standard is adjust mo daw siya sa initial carrying amount ng ating hedge item or ng ating inventory. Kaya yung ating 500, okay, close mo siya agad diretso sa ating inventory by debiting OCI, exchange gain or loss, crediting purchases or inventory for 500. So our cost of goods sold now, okay, it's now lesser, no, than the cost of goods sold na ating recognize if the OCI is closed at the time or reclassified to P&L at the time that the hedge item affects P&L. Ayan. So our cost of goods sold here is, ayan, magkano na ba yung balance ng ating inventory? That's 262,000 less 500. That's 261,500. You multiply it by 60%. Yan, for June 30, ayan, naging 156,900 yung ating cost of goods sold on June 30. On September 30 naman is the remaining 40%, which is 104,700. 600. Yan. So, ito yung journal entries, no, na kinakailangan if a company nag-hedge ng highly probable future transaction. Yan. And this is also how we treat the balance of the OCI. Okay, so problem number 2. Okay. So this is an activity, no, for option contract. Yeah. So this is another way of hedging the exchange rate or the risk, no, of the changes in the foreign currency exchange rate. So yung ini-hedge natin dito is the negative aspect only. And kasi in an option contract, it only gives the holder, the option holder, the advantage of right to buy or sell a certain amount of foreign currency but not the obligation to buy or sell. So meron lang tayo dito kapag ikaw yung holder, meron ka lang right, to buy or sell but you do not have the obligation. So you can just leave, no, the option, or pwede mo pabayaan yung option na mag-lapse, kapag disadvantage siya, kung i-exercise mo yung option na yon. Ayan. So here's the problem for problem 2. On December 1, 2013, LG company paid 6,000 pesos to purchase a 90-day put option, for a foreign currency 400,000. The option purpose is to hedge an exposed accounts receivable of 400,000 foreign currency from a sale of merchandise. The merchandise is to be shipped on December 1, 2013, payment for which is due on March 1, 2014. Ayan. So when you say put option, it is an option to sell, no, a certain amount of foreign currency. Ayan. Hini-hedge niya dito yung exposure ng ating asset, which is the accounts receivable, sa changes in the exchange, foreign currency exchange rates. Ito yung kanyang mga exchange rates, no, spot rate and strike price or the exercise price during these dates. Ayan. So this should be 1.20, 1.20, 1.20. Ayan. This is the exercise price. Ayan. So, eto din yung kanyang mga fair value ng put option, no, during this date. 6,000 on December 1, naging 36,000 naman on December 31, and naging 28,000 on March 1, 2014. Okay, the journal entries would be as follows. On December 1, 2013, for the hedge item, syempre, it is a sale transaction, kaya you debit accounts receivable, credit sales. How much? That's 400,000 foreign currency multiplied by 1.20, the spot rate at the time of transaction. That's 480,000. For the hedge instrument naman, syempre, nagbayad ka ng premium, no, na 6,000 for the option, kaya you debit investment in foreign currency put option, credit ka ng cash for 6,000. Now, the fair value of the option, in this case, the put option, could be classified into two. Meron niyang intrinsic value and or time value. Ayan. How do you compute the intrinsic and the time value of the option? Okay? First is, for the intrinsic value, pagtanungin ka, what is the intrinsic value, no, of or what is the intrinsic value or the effective portion of the option during this date? In this case, during December 1, 2013, okay, I just have to, okay, so in this case, dahil equal, no, yung ating strike price at saka yung ating spot rate na 1.20, kaya wala tayong intrinsic value. Kasi the intrinsic value is the difference, no, between the strike price and the spot rate if, okay, the situation is in the money. Ayan. Dahil this is at the money, equal yung ating strike price at saka spot rate, kaya wala tayong intrinsic value. Therefore, the entire 6,000 pesos na premium na binayan is only for the time value component. Okay? Ayan. Or the ineffective portion for 6,000. Ayan. Now, for December 31, 2013, okay, sa ating hedge item, as stated, okay, or as seen no, sa ating problem, naging 36,000 yung fair value ng ating put option. Kaya from 36,000 no, to 6,000, our hedge instrument increased by how much? 30,000. Okay, we debit investment in foreign currency put option, 30,000, and credit tayo ng gain. Okay? Foreign currency transaction gain for 30,000. So pagtatanungin ka naman, no, what is the, or how much is the intrinsic value and how much is the time value component of the 36,000 fair value ng ating put option, okay, during December 31, 2013. Ayan. So to compute no, the intrinsic value or the effective component or effective portion, okay, you get the difference of the strike and the spot rate. That's 1.20 minus 1.12 multiplied by the notional amount na 400,000 foreign currencies. Kaya meron kang 32,000 na para sa iyong intrinsic value or effective portion. Okay? For the time value component naman, how to get that? That's of course the 36,000 okay, fair value ng ating put option minus the intrinsic value na 32,000. Kaya meron kang 4,000 na time value. That's 32,000 plus 4,000. That's equal to the 36,000. Ayan. For our, for our hedge item, okay, from 1.20, naging 1.12. So, this is not good kasi this is, yung ating exposed dito is yung ating asset, accounts receivable. So, effectively, nag-decrease yung ating receivable by 32,000. Kaya meron tayong foreign currency transaction loss for 32,000. Now, for March 1, the transaction date, the settlement date pala, ayan, for our hedge instrument, okay, meron tayong loss kasi nga, the fair value is naging 28,000 na lang from 36. So, merong decrease ng 8,000 sa fair value ng ating option. No? Kaya, FC transaction loss, 8,000, debit, credit, investment in foreign currency, put option also for 8,000. Now, to compute the intrinsic value at saka the time value of the remaining of the 28,000 fair value on March 1, 2014, okay, the intrinsic value is, that's 1.20 and 1.13 yung ating spot rate. And yung ating exercise, our strike price is 1.20, the spot rate is 1.13, multiplied, the difference of which multiplied to the notional amount, 400,000 for currency, meron kang 28,000 intrinsic value. Therefore, the 28,000 remaining fair value of our put option, okay, is attributable only to the effective portion or the intrinsic value. Ayan. Okay? So, yung ating time value, effectively zero na siya kasi nga, nag-expire na yung ating option contract. Yung period ng ating option contract. Magiging zero siya unless it is a residual amount. Ayan. So, 28,000 na, yung 28,000 dito, again, the whole amount na 28,000 is okay, attributable to the intrinsic value or the effective portion. Ayan. Now, for the hedge item naman, okay, from 1.12, naging 1.13 yung spot rate, kaya nag-increase yung accounts receivable natin ng 4,000. Kaya meron tayong gain also na 4,000. Okay? To settle, no? Okay? Close muna natin or de-recognize natin yung ating remaining fair value ng put option. Okay? That's the credit to investment in foreign currency for 28,000 and debit to cash, no, for 28,000. Ayan. For the hedge item naman, okay, debit tayo ng cash. Ayan, credit tayo ng accounts receivable to settle no the receivable upon payment no ng ating customer for the accounts receivable. That's 452,000 na lang yung balance ng ating accounts receivable. That's 480,000 less 32,000 plus the 4,000. Yeah, meron tayong remaining balance na 452,000. Next is problem 3. On September 1, 2016, 2B Company anticipated the purchase of merchandise from a foreign vendor at a price of $1,000. So this is no hedging a foreign currency forecasted transaction. Yan. This is effectively that of a cash flow hedge. So the purchase would probably occur on January 30, 2017. On the same date, 2B Company purchased a 150-day call option to buy $1,000 at an option price of 20 pesos by paying an option premium of 200 pesos. The forecasted purchase occurred on the date anticipated. For the year ended December 31, 2017, only 40% of the purchased inventory from the vendor were sold to third persons. Changes in the time value of the option will be taken to profit or loss. Yan. So yung ating changes daw sa time value or sa ineffective portion will be taken to the profit or loss instead to the other comprehensive income together with the effective portion. And the following data are provided. Yan. So on September 1, 2016, yan, ito yung relevant data. Okay, the selling spot rate is 20. Okay, remember na yung ating option price or exercise or strike price is 20 pesos also. Ayan. 20, naging 24 yung spot rate naman on December 31. The fair value of our call option becomes 5,000. And 21 naman yung spot rate on January 30, 2017. Okay? So requirement is ito siya, OCI, G&L or gain or loss will be reclassified to profit or loss in the same period which the hedged item affects profit or loss. So the entry of course for the hedged item on September is no entry yan. Ayan. While for the hedge instrument, syempre, the investment in FC call option, credit ka ng cash. And of course, for 200, yung binayad mo for the option. The premium, payment for the option. Now, how much is the intrinsic and the time value? Syempre, dahil the same lang yung ating spot and strike price, kaya wala tayong intrinsic value. The entire 200 premium paid is for the time value component, 200. On December 31 naman, wala pa rin tayong entry for the hedge item. While for the hedge instrument, sa ating option, ayan, remember na 200 dapat yung ating fair value dito. The amount or the premium paid, at the time of the contract. Ayan. So dahil 200 to dito, tapos naging 5,000, therefore, the increase in the fair value of our investment is 4,800. That's 5,000 na fair value on December 31 less the 200 fair value on September, the time of the contract. Kaya meron tayong increase na 4,800. Now, sabi sa problem, let's record the ineffective portion or the time value component of the fair value, okay, sa profit or loss. Ayan, not sa OCI. So, if that's the case, then again, debit tayo ng investment, okay, in call option. Okay, that's the increase for 4,800. Now, let's classify the 4,800. Magkano ba dito yung ating time value component na ilalagay natin sa profit or loss at magkano naman yung intrinsic value component na ilalagay natin sa other comprehensive income. Ayan. So to get the intrinsic value, okay? To get the intrinsic value component of the 4,800 increase, that's 24 minus 20. Okay, that's 4. Ayan. So saan kinuha si 20? Not sa spot rate but the strike price. The 20 peso contracted strike price. The 24 of course is the spot rate. So the difference of that, that's in the money. Okay, kasi favorable yan. May 4 na difference multiplied by 1,000. Kaya effectively, yung ating intrinsic value component is 4,000. Okay? Sa 4,800, sa 5,000 na fair value. Dahil wala tayong beginning balance ng intrinsic value, therefore, the entire 4,000 is the amount of the increase of the intrinsic value component sa ating fair value ng ating option contract. Ayan. So that's 24 minus 20 times 1,000, that's effectively 4,000. Okay, 4,000 siya kaagad dahil wala tayong beginning balance sa intrinsic value. For the time value component naman, okay, simple. Okay, that's 4,800 increase. Okay, so dahil 4,800 increase yan, okay, the 4,000 is to the intrinsic value, kaya the residual amount na 800 is the time value component. Yun yung ating kinredit for the profit or loss, FC transaction gain, 800. While for the intrinsic value component, papunta yan sa OCI, as computed, 4,000. Now, on January 30, 2017, the transaction date, okay? So, sa ating hedge instrument, record tayo ng gain or loss sa changes in the fair value of the investment. Ayan. So, how much is the increase or the decrease in the value of our investment ba? Okay, hindi siya given, kaya you compute it by, okay, getting muna the difference of the spot rate and the strike price. Ayan, that's 21 yung spot rate. Strike price natin is 20. Meron tayong difference na 1. In the money pa rin yan siya. Multiply mo siya by the notional amount na 1,000, okay? Kaya yung ating fair value ng ating option is 1,000 na lang siya on January 30, 2017. From 5,000 naging 1,000, kaya meron tayong decrease na 4,000. So credit tayo ng investment in foreign currency call option for 4,000. Now the problem is the decrease na 4,000, how much is to the OCI, to the intrinsic value, and how much to the profit or loss, or to the time value. To compute that, of course, the intrinsic value, kunin muna natin yung difference ng spot rate at saka ng strike price. Okay? That's 21 minus 20. Effectively, that's 1. Okay, multiplied by 1,000. Kaya yung ating intrinsic value is 1,000 na lang dito. Okay? 1,000 na lang siya. Remember na meron tayong balance sa intrinsic value na 4,000 as computed on December 31, 2016. Ayan, ito 4,000. Ngayon, naging 1,000. Okay? So, how much is the increase ba? That's 4,000 minus, the 1,000 is computed this way, that's 21 minus 20, multiplied by the notional amount or the foreign currency units na 1,000, that's 1,000 pesos, less mo siya sa 4,000 na balance ng iyong intrinsic value. Therefore, there is a decrease sa iyong intrinsic value na 3,000. Kaya debit ka, okay, kasi that is a decrease, kaya debit siya sa OCI for the intrinsic value for 3,000. Ayan. For your time value component, remember that balance of your time value component is una, meron kang 200, okay? 200. Eto. Ayan. The premium paid kasi equal yung ating strike price at saka spot rate, kaya the premium payment is attributable only to the time value component na 200. On December 31, nagdagdag ka as computed, nagdagdag ka ng 800. Ayan. So, effectively, the balance of your time value component is 200. plus 800. Okay, that's 1,000. At dahil nag-end na yung ating period no, ng ating contract, okay, ng ating call option, kaya yung ating time value component is 0 na rin siya dapat. So, we cancel out the time value balance or time value component balance na 1,000 by debiting foreign currency transaction loss na 1,000. Okay? So, therefore, the decrease no, of the investment for 4,000, 3,000 of that belongs to the decrease no, in the intrinsic value component, while the other 1,000 belongs to the decrease no, of the time value component. Ayan. And, syempre, ayan, sa ating sa ating to recognize the balance of the investment. Ayan, so recognize natin siya, the balance is 1,000, no? 1,000 yung balance ng ating investment in FC call option. Okay, that's of course 200 debit plus 4,800, that's 5,000, ito din. Less the 1,000 decrease, 4,000 decrease, kaya meron kang balance na 1,000. So, recognize, you debit cash, you credit investment in FC call option for 1,000. Ayan. Sa ating hedge item naman, okay, kasi forecasted transaction yan, the same date yung ating transaction and settlement. So, debit ka lang ng purchase inventory, that's 21,000. Credit ka naman ng cash, no, for 21,000. Paano yan kinuha? Of course, that's the 1,000 na foreign currency. Multiply mo lang siya sa spot rate, okay, during January 30 na 21. Ayan. Kaya, meron kang 21,000 na value ng yung purchases or inventory. Okay, so that ends no the discussion for the activity given. Peace.